bring up Blender's preferences, make sure you are in the Add-ons tab, and search for DECALmachine. I've talked about the assets location in the installation video, so watch that if you haven't already. Next is a list of all installed Decal libraries, including trim sheets, which also serve as Decal libraries. Everything in that list of libraries will then also appear in the Object Mode pie menu. And so if you hide a library in the list, it will be hidden from the pie menu as well. The example panels are hidden by default. Unlike the other decal types, panel decals aren't brought into the scene as objects. Only their materials are appended by the Slice, G-panel or E-panel tools. Now, the order of things matters. You can change the sorting in the list to determine where each decal library appears in the pie. Furthermore, you can optionally mark any normal decal library as a panel library, which will then allow you to create panel decals using the decal materials in that library. Reload the libraries or restart Blender for that change to take effect. Note how the example sheet is labeled as a trim sheet. Trim sheets work like any other decal library in object mode, but are then also accessible in edit mode. Check out the section of the documentation on the Unwrap Trim tool for details on that. If you want, you can rename any of your libraries at any time. But check out the Fix Texture Paths tool if you break any decal paths in blend files still referencing the old library names. To create a new empty library, just enter a name here and press Return. And you can just as easily remove a library like this. You can also reload all decal libraries. Using the Reset tool first is optional though, and mostly intended for developer use. If you want to import an existing library, perhaps one created by a third party, just switch this, and pick a folder or zip file. And there it is. As mentioned, you can import either from a folder, or from a zip file. Just understand that you can only import decal libraries or trim sheets that were created in DECALmachine 2. Attempting to import a library from a previous version will let you know about it like this. That's because decal materials and textures have changed for version 2, and so decals created in previous versions will need to be updated before they can be used. There is a dedicated section in the documentation about this, so check that out. Next are the keyboard shortcuts DECALmachine sets. As of this version, the pie menu has 3 keymaps, for object and edit mode, as well as for the UV editor. There are also shortcuts for the quick insert and select tools. Changing them is as easy as this. If you don't like or don't want to use a shortcut, you can disable them like so. And if you ever accidentally delete a DECALmachine shortcut, then you can now easily restore them. DECALmachine 2 introduces the join and split tools, which you can find in the main panel. If you find yourself using them often, you can add them to the pie menu too. Also, some tools provide a modal HUD, and you can change how that HUD looks. In the next section you can determine how the decal libraries appear in the Pi menu. For instance, you can change how many rows of libraries there are. Or you can change how the libraries are distributed on the right and left sides. You can also change the size of the library thumbnails, as well as the size of the decals inside them. If you want, you can even reverse the sorting, to make the newest decals appear first. Just remember to also reload the libraries if you change that setting. Furthermore, you can show the decal count, as well as the decal names, inside and on the outside. Finally, all of these settings are also available for the edit mode Pi, and so for trims. I've talked about PIL in the installation video, so watch that if you haven't already. And if you ever want to remove PIL again, you can do that from here too. Also, if you intend to create your own decals, you should change this line. All decals get tagged with this information, and the Validate tool will display it. Now, just like there are decal libraries and trim sheets, there are also atlases that DECALmachine keeps track of. Trim sheets once again serve a double purpose. Not only are trim sheets decal libraries, they are also atlases. This list is the same as the one in the export panel, by the way. You can change the sorting and enable or disable atlases here. For details on this, check out the Atlas export section in the documentation. And just like you can import decal libraries and trim sheets, you can also import atlases. Note that you still need to have the decals used in the atlas, in some of your libraries, to actually make use of it when exporting. Finally, under the About tab, you can find some links and information about my other add-ons, social media, etc. If you need support, click this button, or the one in the Help panel. And if you are looking to get some third-party decals, hit this button, which brings you to this section in the documentation. Note that some of these are not DECALmachine ready, meaning they are just a collection of images. You will then need to batch create decals from those images yourself. Also, some of these will be out of date, and will need to be updated to work for DECALmachine too.